Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. This is our last parent presentation for the school year and our first presentation virtually, so I appreciate you joining us. We are joined tonight by Kelly Laverty, who is the founder of a practice called Be Rooted, which is a wellness practice that offers whole body stress solutions. Sorry, having a momentary technical difficulty, but she's going to join us this evening and talk about some different skills that we can work on just going into summer months, especially given the fact that the school year is ending a little bit differently and the summer looks a little bit differently. So I will turn things over to Kelly, and I think she will introduce herself again and also share some slides in her presentation. You do have the option, if you have questions for her throughout this presentation, you can also go back to our district website, www.dasd.org. There should be a link there where you can submit questions through Google, and then we can share those with her throughout the course of the evening. Thanks so much. Kelly?
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My name, as Sarah said, is Kelly Laverty, and I am here local. I'm a parent in the district. I have a 7th grader and a 4th grader who's showing on the screen right now. And so I'm in this with you guys. I am going through each day as best I can, and nothing I say tonight is going to fix what we're going through, but I do hope that my experience and my approach and something that I might say tonight might be able to offer some service to you, some support to you and your families. I have been in mental health for 20 years this year, and I am a dance movement therapist. And basically what that means is that I work with the whole body, not just the brain, to help my clients and families really just be in the moment, be in their bodies, and manage stress and anxiety with their whole body. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, is offering some strategies and ways to approach this summer coming up, which is not maybe how we expected it to be. It's definitely not how we expected it to be, but how we can maybe embrace what is and what is coming. So, and hopefully I can offer some tools to anchor you a little bit through this storm that we're all weathering together. So, embracing summer. As you see my daughter there, that was last summer, and she, and I think kids in general, really know how to just embrace summer, embrace the moment, have fun. You know, she's even leaping in kind of backwards, not really even paying attention to where she's going. She's just so in the moment. And while we might not be able to do the same things this summer as we're used to, I do hope that we can try to approach the coming months with that same energy and excitement, and maybe, you know, just leaping into the unknown a little bit. And so, oops, my thing is not working. But I also recognize that I felt like, well, here's my son. I felt like I couldn't leave him out of this presentation if I was sharing my daughter's photo. So here's more what our reality has looked like in the last 2 months. This is him doing schoolwork from the couch with his iPad and his blue light glasses on his face from all the screens. So we're gonna focus a little bit on really building resilience through this uncertainty, because this is what a lot of us have been going through, is uncertainty, being stuck inside, a lot of emotions coming up for us. And while summer might be usually characterized as a time to slow down, play more, you know, even for families who continue to work through the summer, it's generally less organized sports, less chaos, more time for travel, more time for family gatherings. A lot of that is going to look different this summer. A lot of things are going to be restricted. And so there's going to be a lot of feelings around that. And I want to offer some ways for you to learn to embrace and feel all of those feelings. Embrace the suck, really. Embrace kind of the fact that reality is going to be different. And how to, though, allow yourselves to be in summer, be in the next couple months as a family. So as I said, nothing I say tonight is going to fix anything. If you find that you're really struggling right now with just overwhelm, stress, depression, anxiety, anything more than just wanting some strategies, there are a lot of mental health providers out there. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share some resources, and I'm included. I'm working right now virtually, and there's many people out there willing to help. So I encourage you to reach out if you are feeling overwhelmed. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next slide. This is from one of my favorite podcasts right now. If you know Brene Brown, she is a researcher on things that we're all going through: vulnerability, stress, shame. And she had Alicia Keys on her podcast, and this quote really stuck with me for especially this time right now in the last couple months. Nothing but uncertainty is certain. Circumstances come together only to fall apart moments or months later. And then in a flash, we must rise up and regain our footing. In the rearview mirror, I now see so clearly what escaped me then. It's not that ground underneath was suddenly shifting. It's that it is never still. That's part of the work of my journey, getting comfortable with life's groundlessness. So that piece is really what this summer, I think, we have to bring into our brains, bring into our bodies, that's what this is going to be about the next couple of months. It's what the last 2 months have been about, is really trying to shift and adapt to the fact that things are changing and things are uncertain. And we don't know what August, September, what the fall is going to look like, but we do have a sense of what summer can be, and we can only take it day by day. So if you start to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, that's how I see really embracing summer, what it's all about. So we're going to talk about resilience. And if anyone else has a fourth grader right now, actually today, the adaptation project was due for fourth grade. And this is my daughter's adaptation. This is her animal that she made. And the assignment, for anyone that doesn't know, is they build an animal that has many different adaptations for survival, ways that they have adapted in the world and in their environment to survive. And so I thought it really represents really well resilience. And my daughter's is called the plant ray. And it actually starts out as, it's an amphibian. It starts out as a baby stingray looking kind of tadpole in a pond. And then it comes onto land and has to adapt to the land, and it grows this moss and these leaves and these flowers to protect itself and survive on land in this new environment as it grows. And resilience is that. It's a process of capacity for or outcome of successful adaptation despite challenging circumstances. So kids do this. Kids naturally are creative and find ways of adapting. And as we grow, that's human. That's what we do. We find ways to adapt. And so look at your kids and see how they maybe have already adapted. And I think also, though, we have to remind ourselves that kids, we put a lot on like, oh, they're fine with this, and it's us adults that are having a hard time with this change. But they, they are dealing with a lot of feelings too. They are dealing with their reality shifting, their school, being at home, not seeing their friends. They are dealing with a lot. And so we all need to learn to adapt. But what are the steps to do that? How do we get to this place of resilience where we are bringing on these cool features and growing and gaining skills through the adversity? That's what I'm hopefully going to walk you through right now. Okay. So the first step is acceptance. The ability to adapt begins with acceptance. And that just means we have to really root down into what is our reality today, what is going on right now. And we might not like it. That's not what acceptance is about. It's about just getting out of the what ifs and out of the I wish it was, or it should be this way, and trying to focus on just what it is. So to embrace, back to that word, embrace, embracing summer. And I wanted to define what embrace means. This is from the dictionary, and it means to hold, hug, or welcome someone or something into open arms completely, or to accept or support a belief, theory, or change willingly and enthusiastically. And I highlighted those words, completely and willingly and enthusiastically, because really we don't need that piece right now. We might just be able to embrace by imagining that we're holding this situation. We are holding and bringing into our reality, our experience, what's going on. We are quarantined. We are stuck at home. We are fearful. We are disappointed. We are nervous because we have family members who are exposed on the front lines. We are fearful and anxious about jobs and job security and finances. We don't know what summer might look like because we don't know where our finances might be. We might, some of us are worried about vacations that we plan not being able to go. Some people are just worried about putting food on the table. There's many different realities, and we're each in a different boat, really. I've been using this metaphor with my clients of the storm, and I think I've seen it too going around in different ways around social media. And I really love that image of we are out on a boat in the middle of the sea and a storm comes. And that's what happened 2 months ago. We were hit with this major storm and we were knocked about and on this, whatever boat we're on. The issue is we're all on different boats. Maybe I have a pretty, sturdy boat that has room for my whole family, and we have food and we have all our basic necessities, and it's riding the waves, even really big waves. We can get through that. Someone else might feel like they're like hanging on to a pool noodle in the middle of the ocean, and it's just really like they don't know which way is up. There's nothing to help them through that. So we all have different size boats. We might all have different resources right now, but none of us at that beginning were anchored. And the work, I think, over the last couple of months for many of us, hopefully, has been to try to find your anchor, to find what is getting you through as a family, individually, but what can you anchor each day to manage that stress, to manage that storm. And now it's been 2 months, and the storm is a little bit, it's not past, but it's calmed down. We're still out in the ocean. We're still on a boat, not really sure where we're going yet. Land is pretty far off. And even when we get there, we're not quite sure what that's going to even look like. It's not going to be the normal that we were accustomed to. And that might be good. Maybe we're going to grow and change, and we're going to come to kind of whole new land, and that's going to be really great. But there's a lot of loss, a lot of emotion, a lot of feelings around that. And all of that is valid. So I think right now, kind of going into embracing summer is to recognize that we're through the main crisis. Our bodies responded to the stress. We got into fight flight mode. We mobilized, we did what we needed. We bought all the toilet paper. We have been sanitizing everything. We're staying home. We're protecting our family. And we're doing that. But now, as the government and as our communities start to get used to this, start to build the resources, we're also starting to shift and see things opening up. And hopefully in the next couple of months, they're going to open up to where we can really do some more fun things, maybe in the summer. But it's not a crisis anymore. And so we want to try to build resilience by teaching our bodies that we are out of crisis, We are not in that fight flight mode. Our bodies can let go of that, and our bodies can, excuse me, one moment. Yeah, I'm live. Okay, go on. Thanks. Sorry about that. So my daughter just got home and was saying hi. We're not in crisis anymore, and that's good. We can kind of start to do things day to day and start to implement some of these things and reframe and relook at how were the 2 months that we've been in and what can we do in the next coming months. So to get there, resilience, there's a pathway that we need to go through. And I call them the 3 R's, or I'm going to tonight, just for memory's sake and trying to have it flow to make sense. But we start with recognizing, and then we go into reviewing, and then root. And I like the word root. It's the name of my practice, be rooted. I really like the imagery of foundation and foundational habits and foundational things for our health. If we are rooted, we can grow. Today it was really windy. I don't know if anyone went outside, but that wind was super strong. And if you think of a tree, it builds strong roots into foundation of the earth so that it can withstand every storm that comes. And if we're on those boats out in the sea, we need to root, we need to find an anchor, something to connect us to our foundation so that we don't get thrown around. So that's what we're going to be working to do. And that's how we get resilience. And resilience is just about adapting and getting through. And we've all done hard things. So just remind yourself you've done hard things before, and this is going to be no different. We can get through these next few months, this next year, and we're going to come out on the other side. But how can we get through it? How would you like to experience it? And that's what we're going to talk about in recognize, review, and root. So recognize really just means that you recognize how you're feeling in all ways is good. Anything that you're feeling right now is valid. All of it, even the bad. Good, bad, ugly, it's all valid. A lot of times what we do is we try to discount our feelings and we disconnect from what we're doing. And that is, we disconnect from what we're feeling and, excuse me, and then we discount it. And right now we really need to connect to our bodies, connect to how we're feeling in order to recognize it, because otherwise we're just going to stay in fight flight mode the whole time. So to do that, you first find your breath. Breath is our information. It gives you a lot of details, a lot. It tells you if you're stressed, it tells you if you're calm. When you come to your breath, it connects you to your body and to your senses. So that's what we need to do. And we're going to actually do that together right now. I want you, wherever you're at in your home, I'm guessing in your home because most of us can't be anywhere, but if you're outside in your yard or at your table or at a couch, find a way to maybe stand up or just put your feet on the ground wherever you're at. I'm sitting on a ball, so I'm kind of bouncy right now. Let your feet be on the ground. And I want you to just find your breath. Take a minute. Quiet down. You can put your hand on your chest to feel your body, help your brain connect. That's what you're doing. You're taking your focus from wherever it was and you're bringing it internal to sense the feeling of your breath. Maybe even take a breath a little bit more forcefully to feel it, breathing in and out. And use it as information. Are you breathing through your mouth? Are you breathing through your nose? When we're stressed, the fight flight system, generally we breathe through our mouth. It's a signal to our body that we need to activate, that we need to energize and mobilize, and it helps us fight or flight. So if you want energy, if you want to mobilize, breathe through your mouth, activate that energy. Take a big breath in. You know, when you go for a run or you exercise, a lot of times your breath just comes through your mouth. If you want to calm, we breathe through our nose, and that signals the body to go into our parasympathetic nervous system, which I could do a whole nother talk on stress and all of that, but I'll now just know nose breathing helps you calm. And so you can breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose, and notice if there's, if it's short breath or if it's long and calm. And the longer you exhale, it's going to cue your body to continue to calm. If you focus on your inhale, that's energizing, and you can energize that way. So I want to do a little bit of a stress kind of buster, a little 1-minute exercise that's really helpful to do, because a lot of times we're disconnected from our stress. We might be in chronic fight flight mode. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated and just you're on anxiety haywire all day long, and you don't even know it, because we can't really stay that way. We can't operate that way all day. So our bodies disconnect. It's kind of, our brain goes into survival mode, and we don't feel that. Instead, it builds up as tension in the body. It can build up as tiredness, exhaustion. And so we want to shift that. We want to bring that forward in our body and let us experience the stress and identify it so we can recognize it. So I'm going to stand up. We're going to do a 1-minute exercise. And I'm going to put a timer on so that I can time it with you. We are going to do 20 seconds. This is broken up into 3 parts. We're doing 20 seconds of strong, hard, fast breathing. And it's going to feel stressful. It's going to feel uncomfortable. And if you have any reasons that you shouldn't be breathing that way, please don't do this right now. Use it as a way to observe or see if family members are present and how you can see what happens with them, or do it at another time. If you're having any respiratory trouble, this might not be the exercise for you right now. But if you're just scared of feeling uncomfortable, then don't, give it a try. See for maybe 10 seconds what it's like. We're just going to breathe fast, strong, hard breath for 20 seconds. Then we're going to shift that breath, that energy, into the full body for some movement of shaking and jumping. And then we're going to slow that down and just be still in the body and feel what that's like for 20 minutes. So start the timer, and you can do this with me. And here I'm by myself, so I'm going to probably sound and look weird to myself right now, just looking at the camera. But I hope you're doing this with me. And I hope you're feeling the same, just maybe looking at a screen as well. It would feel much better, all of us together. So, okay, ready, set, go. That's 20 seconds. Now you're going to just jump, shake in the body for 20 more seconds. I'm bouncing on a ball, which actually activates the nervous system, activates my spine, sends endorphins up. So you shake, you jump. And then you exhale that out. And for 20 seconds more, we're just going to breathe. Shifting from mouth breathing to nose breathing. Noticing what your body feels like, where you might have tingling, where you might have energy, sensation going through the body. Do you feel your feet on the ground? Do you feel your arms? Do you feel your lungs? Where are you aware? And what is your body telling you right now? For a lot of us, we're not even aware of our tension and our stress in our body. So that exercise is a way to feel it, to bring it through and recognize it. Because without recognizing it, you can't feel it. And without feeling it, we can't go through anything. We have to let something be before we let it go. We have to be with it. So that is an exercise I really like to do, especially with people that don't even recognize that they are in fight flight mode. The first part might feel like normal, maybe it wasn't even uncomfortable for you. And that's a real big sign that you are already in fight flight stress state, and you're probably there a lot. And right now, we're all probably there. And we just need to, we want to let it go. We want to move. We want to get that out. Until you really embrace it and feel it, it's not going to move. It's not going to be let go. Part of what happens in nature with animals is the stress response moves. They shake. If you have a dog or you've watched birds that kind of shake in the wild, or your dog, when it, like a thunderstorm, it'll start shaking, like letting out the stress. That's what our bodies really need to do, is we need to like shake. And there's various different trauma, embodied trauma response and exercises that I can teach people and work with people who really need to work through that. But just this everyday stress that we're going through, this exercise can be a way to help get that shake into your body and help move from the breath, move from that tension, move it through the shaking, and then let yourself just be with it. No judgment, no trying to fix it, but just feeling it. Okay, that's the first step. And speaking of that stress, we have a lot of feelings around the stress, around this quarantine, around everything going on: disappointment, anxiety, frustration, exhaustion, anger, denial, grief. And what I want you to recognize is our brain is causing a lot of that. There's crisis mode and fight flight, like survival instinct that kicks in our body. But right now, a lot of the issue is, we're at home and our brain is creating a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress that might or might not need to be there. It comes from the gap in between our reality and our expectations of reality. So the bigger the gap, the more stress you're going to feel. And right now, our reality is also something that we have to recognize. We have to accept and name it. We have to name what our reality is. And right now, we're limited travel, we're social distancing, we are work from home. We're looking at a summer with no summer camps. There are some out there, you can find them, but for the most part, there's very limited summer camps at the moment. That might change, but day to day, we have to recognize and deal with what our reality is. And again, back to that, everyone's reality is different. So approaching, not just thinking that your reality is the right way, we all have different needs and different things happening for us right now. And so kindness and compassion is really necessary when you think about our reality versus other people in our community. And the expectations might be looking ahead, Memorial Weekend this weekend, thinking of everything that Memorial Day usually is for us and how I wish it could be this big baseball weekend that for our family, it's usually the West Bradford Memorial Day picnic. And it's, a lot of fun things, travel games that aren't happening, or barbecues or beach trips for a lot of people. And so there's this expectation and there's this wish and want of it should be a certain way. And if I focus on that, I'm going to create a huge gap from what my real Memorial Day might look like to what my expected hope and wish and what's in my brain. And if I keep comparing the two, that's going to give me all of those feelings, all of the disappointment, anxiety, frustration, exhaustion, anger, denial, grief, and more that I'm not even mentioning. So instead, if you can pause and reflect and review that there are ways to have different feelings in this moment. And that leads us into the second stage, review. So we need to pause and reflect and take in everything we're feeling, all the reality, the gap that we have right now, the stress. And we have to name it. We have to see it and feel it so that we can go through it. But part of review is recognizing that we have a choice. We can just sit here and keep comparing today's reality to what we wish it would be. And we can just stay in that. And that is activating our stress state, and it's keeping us shut down, frozen, like we're wanting to fight or flee. We just want to get away from it all. So that's a pretty normal response, because we're stressed and our body wants to do that. We want to run from it. We don't want to have this experience. So our choice is that if we shift our reality and make that gap smaller, we can create a little bit of a different experience in our body. We can shift out of the stress state into a more rest, recuperate, thrive state. We can choose behaviors that actually help our body shift the nervous system out of that. And by doing that, we get to shift from the have to the get to. And we can look at this summer as, what do we get to do? So we get to review our family routine right now. I want you to think about, and maybe go back to your families as a family dinner topic, thinking about what has been just like habitual over these last 2 months and what has been intentional in your routine. Do you have a routine? During the school year, we tend to have a routine. We get up, we have the buses, we have school, we have activities, we have work. Our routines have looked a little different. What out of the last 2 months has been effective for your family? What's been anchoring you each day or each week? Do you have any rituals or new routines you've come up with? My family has been doing this movie marathon. And so each week we would plan out, okay, what day do we want to watch the next movie? What is the next movie it was the Marvel marathon. And that brought something for us to look forward to and to talk about and to plan together. So that was like an anchor, and something to look forward to is a really great anchor. But then there's things in our routine that's been depleting, and you have to be honest with yourself too. What's been depleting your family? What's draining your energy? How much doing versus being time do you have in your routine? And doing, I include sitting on a screen and checking out as doing, because you're not really present with how you're feeling. To be, you don't have to do anything. You just are feeling. How much distraction are we doing? And I want to kind of, take a look at distraction for a moment. A little deeper. Distraction is actually a function of the mind. It's a function of anxiety. When we are anxious, our mind wants to get out of that experience. And when we have our the stress state come on, we want to disconnect. So distraction takes us away from that. Getting on screens, going for a walk, there's lots of ways to distract. But anxiety, it's twofold. Anxiety, we're feeling anxiety, and we want to distract from that. Our mind takes us to the what ifs, the future planning, the worry, and that distracts us from this moment that we're feeling. So catch yourself, how much distraction is really effective and allowing you to shift your nervous system, and how much is just this endless loop of anxiety that's future focused and all about the what ifs and what if and what if. And that is distracting you from this moment, from being present. A lot of social media right now is a big what if and distraction for me. It just gets my mind spinning, and people are questioning and wondering, what are things going to look like? And will I be able to do this? And that is something that I know I could be distracted by for an hour, but it's not helping me shift. It's not actually distracting my body and shifting that to where it's healthy. So take a look at distraction and how it functions in your life. And really the easiest thing is to say, what has made you feel the best over the last 2 months? What's been the best part of this? And we want to do more of that. And then the next step is to root. And of course, be rooted, like that image. I just love that we want to grow the branches, the roots of our tree into foundations. And my foundations that I really value and focus on with clients are threefold: to be embodied, be in the body, which is really a part of all of these sections. You know, we have to start with the breath, and the breath is in each step. The body and breath are always present. So if you don't have those tools, if you don't have the skills to be in your body, I'm going to talk about a few more ways that you can really build those roots of how to be embodied. You want to be nourished, which is like just continue doing things that keep our immune system up, things that make us healthy and are good, just foundational routines in our day. So I'm going to touch on that. And then to be connected. And yes, even in social distance, we can be connected. We can feel connection that comes from a place of feeling and being connected to the present and in your body. So we can feel the love, even if there are people across the country, and even in our community where we're comparing how we don't get to see people, we can feel the connection and the love from people that we do have in our lives. So just to go a little bit more into giving you some ideas of being embodied, the body stores our stress, so therefore it's the way we need to release it. And there's lots of ways to do it. Continue to breathe and connect. We want to release by moving, shifting, breathing, laughing, crying, singing, screaming. You know, there's lots of different techniques. Literally getting up and moving activates your body. Jump, shake. I was saying bouncing on a ball, it's actually been shown helps the spine. Bouncing on a trampoline sends endorphins up through the spine to your brain to activate, to lift your mood. And we want to activate our senses: see, smell, hear, touch, taste. All of those are really important to help keep us in the body and keep us present. Okay. Being nourished, give to yourself like you give to others. Really, this is all about self-care. And it's not just nourishment physically with nutrition, yet food and what we're eating right now is important. It's important for our immune system. It's important for just family routine and family dynamics. I think a positive for a lot of people is that we've been home eating together, and there's a lot of positives through nourishing with food and baking together and cooking from scratch and having sit down family dinners. What I want to encourage is asking yourself, is this food nourishing me? And it can nourish us for emotional health too. So it's not, there's no good or bad food. I have spent much of my career in the field of eating disorders, and I strongly believe that right now it's not a time to focus on right and wrong foods and right and wrong ways of eating. We eat for comfort. We eat for stress. That is a human trait, and it is a stress response. But bringing more mindfulness in to your eating and being present, being in your body when you eat, will help guide you in the foods that feel the most nourishing. Sometimes it's chocolate, sometimes it's a big salad or fruit, so allow yourself. My foundational rules are really to, be as plant forward as you can, get a lot of different colors in your day, and encourage your kids to do the same. Okay. Don't that habitual reaching into the cabinet for something easy and quick. Encourage your kids to grab a fruit or something on the counter, put out, chop things together and put out snacks that are really going to be nourishing for the day, and encourage mindful eating. If you're going to eat, sit down. We have the time finally. We're not on the run to sports or here or there and eating in our car. We're actually at home. So allow yourself to eat more mindfully. Turn off the screens when you eat. Hydration, water, it's huge. And I find myself having actually less water while I've been in quarantine than when I'm out and about, because I always carry my water bottle everywhere with me. But at home, I have to be more conscious of drinking more water. Thinking positive, having gratitude. Gratitude has been studied so much, and it is so nourishing, and it really shifts our stress state just by thinking positive, shifting and focusing on the now, what we have, what we can do, and what we're grateful for versus the things that we don't have. The hand on the belly is to just bring awareness to gut health, because food and gut health is so interrelated to stress. There's a mind gut relationship, especially with stress. That's a whole different talk, but just to be aware of taking care of yourself with sleep. And then alone time. This is really challenging right now. We are all in the same space, most of us. Some people watching, I'm just assuming because it's a district, we're all with families, but maybe some of you are living alone, and there's a whole different piece to living alone right now in quarantine. But for many of us, we are struggling with being in the same space as our significant others and our kids and college kids home, or different, grandparents, different people all in our same space. It's important to get some time for yourself. Whether you're mom, dad, kid, even kids need time for themselves. And I would encourage it to be really intentional, so that you're not just, my son and daughter have time to themselves when I'm working and they get on screens or whatever. That's time to themselves, but allow it to be more mindful time, a walk, a creative activity, something where you just really connect to yourself. And that brings us into being connected. And connection is all about, there's so many ways to connect, but to be human is to connect. We have a need to belong and a need to connect with others. We have neurons in our brain that when we touch someone, stress is reduced. Cortisol comes down when we touch. So that is huge right now. And we're probably in the same space with our families, but maybe we're not getting as much, actual hugs or close time. Maybe we're getting too much of that. You have to look at the spectrum for yourself, but notice what it means to have some actual intentional touch and intentional hugs. Maybe do a self massage. You can pet your pets, but be connected to the moment, be connected to yourself with breath. And then with others, I think a lot of us have been connected, finding Zoom in this way, like right now, being connected to the district in this way. It's so awesome. Technology can be really great. I challenge you in the summer, coming months, to try to find moments each day where you have 3D time instead of 2D time. And that might just be with your housemates. That might be the only people that you can do that with at the moment. Hopefully, as things lighten up, we can social distance and see people outside, and 6 feet apart. You can't get that big hug. You can't get that touch, but you can give them eye contact. You can look at them, and when you're speaking, notice something about them. Give them that eye contact. Use your inflection to let them know that you are really present with them in 3D, not just the screen. So make sure you have that every day. You have some 3D time. And then connection to something bigger. Right now, in order to keep getting through, and to really, whenever you go through hard things, the why is a big part of that. And being connected to a bigger purpose, to the benefits of what, shelter in place was for the community. It was to protect the vulnerable in our community. And so being connected to that larger message, that larger mission, is something that really helps get us through when we're asking, why are we doing this? Why are we continuing to be home? Why do we have to do this? Connecting to that bigger purpose. Focus on what you value in your community and how important that is. Okay. Connecting to nature. That's a big one for me. I try to get out every single day, whether it's raining, it's windy, it's cold. In the summer, it's going to be a challenge for me when it's too hot. I hate the heat unless I'm by a pool. So that's going to be a challenge to really get outside. But it's important for our stress levels. It's important for our breathing. We have to breathe different air than what's inside our house. It's important for our eyesight. There's actually, our body needs to know that we can go elsewhere than our house. But our eyes, when you go outside, there's things called fractals in nature, and they trigger our brain to reduce the cortisol, to bring down stress. Nature is shown to do that. So 5 minutes, every day at least, but ideally more than that. Ideally get out, especially in the summer, make that a big focus of your day. And then connection to a higher power, to your spirituality. Churches might be closed, but you can connect to the mission and the message no matter where you're at. There's a lot of different readings and podcasts and different things you could tune into for that. So this is something that I'm calling a summer resilience plan. It's kind of a takeaway I want for your families to do. You can pull up this recording later. You can email me and I can send you this if you need it. But it's really, you can just take notes and just on a piece of paper, divide it into 4. And I want your family, or just you, but hopefully your family together, to create this poster and have it a list. So when things are hard, you can go to it and use it as a resource. And in the one quadrant, the left one, you're going to come up with a family why. Why are you going to spend, what's summer going to look like for you? When things are hard, what can you go to? What can you fall back on? Maybe it's a family mission statement, a family, values list, but you can write or draw or even cut out magazines. Or if your, kids are talented at the Google Slides and all the presentations they've been doing on their iPad right now, let them create it on the computer using images of what's important to you guys. But think of things that inspire you to keep going. Maybe they're quotes. Maybe there's some of the, you could use some of the quotes I've shared, or I'm going to have a couple more coming. But things that you've seen that inspire you to keep going when it's hard, when you really are stressed, when you just can't stay in your house any longer or come up with one more creative thing to do. This is why you're doing it, okay? And then the next one is make a list of the anchors that root you. So whether you think of it as an anchor, whether you think of it as a root, what are the foundational behaviors each day that are really going to keep your family grounded? What is your daily routine? How much sleep do you need? Do you have certain rules about food and time that you should eat, or snacks, or limits on screens, or everyone has to get outside, before you can sit down for your evening of fortnight? What are the rules for your family that are the daily behaviors and habits that are going to really keep you rooted and going? And then that's just a day to day, and stuff's going to come up. So you're going to need a list of stress busters and mood shifters when you're catching yourself at a low, even when you're catching yourself at a high, like what helps you to keep going. And these are things that are quick tools. I want you to think of like that 1 minute thing that we did that could be on your list. Going outside for 5 minutes could be on your list. Write down your favorite song or a family song that if it's on the radio, everyone just sings along to, or just can't even help but breaking out into a dance party in the kitchen. Do a saying that you can yell, or, write down, go shift, there's some apps that can help with this. I really like, and I'll share it too later on a list, but there's a 7-minute workout app, and it just makes me smile to think about it, because back in the day, the 7-minute abs or the 7-minute, it was everything, 7-minute this or that. 7 minutes isn't a long time. And this is a workout app to where if like I'm just feeling like low energy, or like I need to focus, or my brain, this app walks me through quickly some different like jumping jacks and some different quick kind of workout moves that are 20-second blocks, and it goes through 7 minutes. And by the end, it's not a big workout, but I shifted, my body shifted, my energy shifted. Exercise helps with shifting your mood. And so it shifts, you're in a different place. Literally take the metaphors of movement. If I want to shift, let me shift my body. Let me go outside. If I feel stuck, I go outside. If I feel closed off or notice that I'm sitting like this, I need to open. So write down some movement shifts that can help you. Think of your posture. Think of, a quick tool of breathing. Put the 5 fingers on my Facebook page. I've done some different videos of different breathing exercises and things that you can find. There's lots of mood shifters and stress busters actually that I'll do on my Facebook page at Be Rooted Kelly Laverty. So you can check that out and follow for some ideas. And then the last piece is ways to grow. This is kind of coming back to like, the typical summer bucket list, but approaching it differently instead of like all these big, grand ideas, day-to-day ideas that you can grow. How as a family, what are some new things you can try? This is a really great opportunity this summer to try new things. Think of things in your local, it's like that staycation. What can you experience locally that you've never done? I just found a new parking lot for Harmony Hill that we've always parked in the same exact place. We have routines. We have, we're short on time. We've lived here 10 years and we always go to the same start of the trail. Now I know about the other parking lot and I'm going to do the other section of the trails that I never got to do. And it's a whole different perspective. So write a list of hikes you want to try, write a list of like crafts that you've always wanted to try, family movies that you haven't done, things to look forward to, and things too that in the last 2 months, maybe you've identified have not worked so well. So things that you can improve on. We want to do this better. We want to try this again. We want to, encourage each other. We recognize that we might be getting in more fights or on each other's nerves. So what are ways that we can grow together in that? Okay. And just want to kind of wrap it up and then hopefully we have time for questions. But sometimes all that you can do is accept that there's not much you can do. Sometimes all you can control is how well you let go of control. And I really love this quote because I think it encompasses what hopefully my message tonight is, that there's really not much we can do about what summer is going to look like besides trying to just embrace whatever comes, embrace the moment, embrace what we can control, and recognize that there's not much except for being in the body and in the moment. That we can do. We can feel it, and that's the way through. So, and all of you have made it through so far. I really love the reminder that, especially on hard days, to remind yourself that our track record for getting through bad days so far is 100%. So that's really, really great. We will get through this no matter what it looks like. If you spend the whole summer or your kids spend the whole summer on an iPad on the couch, that's okay. We're going to get through. Again, there's no right or wrong to what this needs to look like. And every day is going to be different. I do want to, if there's nothing else, we have the 3 R's, but then to break it down even more simply for summer, if you can get and focus on more vitamin P, more pleasure, more presence, more play, those 3 things are going to help you with your stress. It's going to help you shift. It's going to help you be embodied and be nourished and be connected by doing those 3 things. So here is some resources that are, there's plenty more online, but Chester County does have a warm line. If you are missing connection, if you just need someone to talk to, you can call them. The crisis center is open and local, and you can call them. There's also national hotlines, of course, that you can call. And there's a link to chesco.org. If you go on there, they have many more coronavirus support strategies. These are some apps that I like. I put TikTok on there because right now I think a lot of families are doing fun things together. I know that my family, it's been kind of a stress relief to like be creative together. I don't recommend just scrolling, but there is many, many ways of finding laughter and creativity through that. Some other, that 7-minute workout I mentioned, Downward Dog is another free yoga app. They will create based on your time, how much, if you only have 10 minutes but you want a yoga workout, they'll do it. If you have an hour, it'll create it for you. Calm, Headspace, Super Better. That gives you challenges and almost like games to help shift your mood. It's kind of cool. Unwinding Anxiety also helps shift. So those are helpful. And then you can definitely reach out to me. I am seeing clients virtually, but feel free to reach out even for just a 15-minute question, kind of discovery, like pick my brain session. I'm totally open to that. So, all right. And I'll pass it back to Sarah. I don't know if there's any questions.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate that. I don't think we have any questions at this point in time, but I do appreciate all of the time and the energy that you put into that presentation, as well as all of the information and the resources. I think there were some really great and useful strategies that I think all of us could probably incorporate into our day at various points in time. So certainly appreciate all of your time and your energy. And with that, I think we will say goodnight for this evening. I hope everyone stays safe and well. And to your point earlier, we will get through this. So thanks so much.
There's no other option but through.
Go through.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share and hopefully provide some support.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.